as me talking for 40 minutes. Yeah, it's good when you hear that sound. One of the educational things that I do with music rather than folk music is it's right at the end is a songwriting workshop series, and the people that do it always want to have the session recorded. So I always know if I've heard that little sound, recording in progress, that the button has been pressed and that they can have their recording sent to them afterwards. Okay, I'll just about got everything in place. So oh, brilliant. Yeah, perfect. And I'll move this music stand down. So I started work as a folk musician about 2004, and probably semi-professionally about 2007 with the folk duo Megson, which some of you may have seen, some of you may not. And it's me and my wife. We both met singing in a choir in the northeast of England, and when she travelled down to London to go to music college, I followed her down, and we looked for something musically to do together. I'd always played in metal bands before then, and she studied opera, the classical singer. So I don't know how we found our way into folk music. She had always sang folk unaccompanied songs as part of the exams that you do when you're a classical singer. So she said, "Oh, I know all these songs." And I had an acoustic guitar with me, and I thought, "Oh, I wonder if you could pair them together somehow, and that would be a thing." And it sounded nice, and we started traveling around the folk clubs of London, or acoustic clubs really, and then discovered the folk scene from that. We weren't brought up in the folk scene. We had vague recollection of the folk singer Vin Garbett from Teesside, but that was about it. So we discovered folk from that, which is very exciting to learn about something in your early 20s as we were, and all the history and the culture that goes with it. So we'd be doing that about 4 years. So 4 years when we started to be able to make a bit of a living out of it. And we had a child when we were early 30s. And so it took a bit of a break from the touring around the world, not the world, England and a bit of Europe, to have a child. And at the same time, we thought we'd mark that occasion by recording a collection of children's folk songs, which I think is slide 1. There wasn't any particular aim with that in mind. There we go. When I was a lad, it was called The Collection of Children's Folk Songs. We'd recorded about 4 albums by that point, and we had a small studio at home, so recording and making music was reasonably straightforward for us. So that's what it looks like. And then the next slide will have the track list on there. And it was mainly a collection of songs that we liked that were children's folk songs. There was no aim for it to be performed to children. We were pregnant rather than had a child at that time, so we had no real inkling of what children would like from music. It was more what I suppose young adults would like to listen to while they had young children, and that's how it was arranged as well. So that was the material. So there's a mixture of traditional songs, old folky songs that we'd written. B.O. was a Scottish folk song that came across at Alison McMorland. Anyone heard? She collects lots of children's folk songs and she performs them as well. Jenny Jenkins' American folk song. Oats and Beans and Barley Grove, pretty standard English song. And some that we'd written that again were pitched more to adults, I think, than to kids, but we thought we'd write them in a way that at the time we thought children might appreciate them. It sounded, I'll give a bit of an illustration, and people say, plug your guitar in so that people in Zoom lands can hear it. And And we'll do that. I don't have my array of pedals I usually have. So, and so one of the songs, the song which a lot of children seem to like, was called "All the Shops Have Fallen Down," and it was about the state of the high street. I don't know. We'd moved to a place called Royston, which isn't too far from here, and it astounded me, not astounded me, but I was aware that there's a massive Tesco on the outside and this beautiful high street that used to have cobbled stones, and now it's all been paved and it is not as pretty. It was in decline. At the same time, the same thing was being done by the giant Tesco's outside. So I thought a children's folk song about the state of the high street would be the perfect thing to do. So there's a song called "All the Shops Had Fallen Down." It went, I went shopping in the baker's shop, but the baker's shop, it didn't have a lot. When I went shopping for a loaf of bread, the bread was hard as a lump of lead, loaf of bread. It's not a lot in the baker's shop. Spend our pennies and save our pounds. So all the shops have fallen down. And at the time, I was running a folk group in Cambridge. I still am, actually, with some sixth formers. And there was a fantastic melodeon player called Ollie King. Is that Ollie King? And so he did a little bit that went da, 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 over this bit, which is beautiful. And then the second verse went, I went shopping to the butcher's shop, but the butcher's shop didn't have much stock. I went shopping for a pound of meat. The meat, it smelt like me grandma's feet, lump of meat. There's not much stock in the butcher's shop, lump of lead, loaf of bread. It's not a lot in the baker's shop. Spend our pennies and save our pounds. All the shops have fallen down. Ya da da dam da 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 da. Yam da 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 dam. And Ollie brought a bit of kind of a Morris feel to that section. Anyway, that was the rest of that song. Nice illustration. Thank you. I'm going to pull this out now, Pete. Yeah, as you can hear from that, it wasn't really a song that was designed for educational work or particularly with children in mind. It was a funny song that we wanted to put on a collection of children's folk songs. We took a bit of break from touring, but we were doing a few shows, and somehow there was a lady called Chris Pentney at the Sage in Folkworks at the Sage in Gateshead. At the time, Folkworks, is it still going? Not as much as it. Is it still going? Good, good. Because there was a time after, or around COVID time, it was doing a lot less, wasn't it? That's good news. Yeah, so she was really supportive of folk music of all kinds, and I think because we had a Northeast connection, she had us perform up there a few times. She'd heard that we'd done a collection of children's folk songs, and she said, I'd love you to come and perform this music for children. And we had no idea how that would work. She said that a singer called Laura Viers had recorded an album of children's folk songs a few years back, and she simply played the songs and put a bubble machine on at the same time. So if you go to the next slide, that's kind of what we did. She booked us to play an evening, so there we go. And there's the kids with the bubble machine. She booked us to play an evening show, and in the afternoon we played the music you just heard to young kids. It was during the day and it was during the week, so it was mainly mothers with the young preschool kids, also grandparents and some fathers as well, that were looking for something to do with their kids at that time, because there's not much, you have that period where you're looking for things to occupy yourself. And it was reasonably successful, and we kind of enjoyed it, but if you don't engage kids at that age, they'll go a bit wild after a while, and they used to pop the bubbles and just fight a bit. We'd play songs and they'd be fighting. But we enjoyed it. And we did keep the bubble machine for a while. Anyway, we did that one show. We didn't think we'd do that much more, but after that, Rob Tinkler, who some of you might know from the Junction in Cambridge, he's a music programmer. He had heard that we'd done that. I must have been chatting with him about it, and he said he thought it would work at the Junction. Now, the Junction in Cambridge, they do lots of children's theatre, so this is, designed for young people. Quite creative, a lot of the things that they do there. And so he said, "Oh, you come along as part of the program they do of the young theatre. They'll put a music show on." And so we took it there, and we started to think, "Oh, how could we engage the children rather than just put a bubble machine on and play the music?" So we went to a lot of the theatre shows they did at the Junction and tried to learn from the ways that the theatre practitioners would keep the children entertained for you've got about 40 minutes with the age group that we were performing to, which is 0 to 8 years. So we did a show at the Junction, and we started to develop the set list a bit more. That was slightly more successful. And then another folk music fan, who Chris Elwell, who used to run the Half Moon Children's Theatre in London, as a theatre designed for young people. His parents were folk fans, and the fans of Megson, and they heard that we'd done a family folk show, and so he invited us down to perform there. And he was a big developer of work for young children, mainly theatre stuff, but also bits of dance, and he was interested in folk music. So he brought us down there, and he coached us a bit in how we could engage with the young people using our music, and introduced us to a network of theatres and art centres around the southeast. I forgot what they're called now. There was once a similar day to this where I went and presented the family folk show to the programmers. And so we kind of went from what was something purely pitched for adults, that when I was a lad, to something that was starting to develop into something that young people would actually engage with. And maybe I'll go to the next slide now. And this is a rough idea of the material that we now do in our what we call our family folk show. So we now do, this is how many years later? It started in 2010. What year are we now? No, 2011. 15 years later. So I should be retiring from it, really, but it's still going. We do a tour about once a year, probably have about 10 shows, mainly around the southeast of England, because that's where we can travel to during the day. Again, it consists of a mixture of traditional folk songs, old songs that have found their way into the folk canon, and songs that we'd written ourselves. And I often found that it's only really at the start of the set when, for the young age group, you will have, so I'm just going to grab some water here. For the age group that we're working with, which is 0 to 8, mainly, particularly the young, super young ones, you have about 5 minutes where you can actually do something interesting musically before their attention goes, and you've got to start engaging them in other ways. So we always start our set with a song called Baby in the Band, and I'll play that for you now. And it also starts to introduce folk music and the instruments to the kids. Yep. Yep. In here. Okay. Yeah. When we're performing, I've got to say, if anyone's got any questions at any point, please do say, because otherwise I might go off the point. We are used to working with specific places in mind that you can perform. What we've often done at the family folk shows is drawn with not drawn, but got a bit of tape and put a tape across what we call the front of the stage. And if you do that, then the children have a habit of not wanting to cross it. It becomes like a stage that prevents them causing disruption. Because as you can see on some of the performances there, that we encourage the children to get up and dance and sing at points. And there's been many times where we've had stage invaders, as bad as you might get at a Metallica concert, that rush onto the stage. So just by drawing an imaginary line on the floor, it somehow, prevents them from doing that. We retired the bubble machine, I think, about just before the pandemic. We did use it for a fair while, but there was one concert we did where one of the volunteers, it was quite an elderly volunteer, she slipped on the bubble juice that was on the floor. And there was a mat there. She was fine, but it was messy. Bubbles were messy. And I was like, "Well, this is not really the way forward." And we didn't. It started to not really need it at that point. And one thing I don't do normally when I'm performing to young children is spend too long tuning. Unlike when performing to adults, that's fine. I can spend 5 minutes. So I'll say welcome. Now, the normal start to our family folk show will go, welcome, my name's Stu, this is Debs. We're going to perform some folk music for you this afternoon. The first song involves this instrument here. Does anyone know the name of this instrument? A frying pan. It's very close to a frying pan because that's right, it does look like a frying pan. You don't always get the correct answer, especially the skills, but mostly you do. Sometimes you get, oh, it's a guitar. It's like a guitar. I try whenever someone gives a wrong answer to a question, never say it, that's wrong. You say it's similar. And I've yet to get anyone to guess what the mandola is, but maybe one day. It's a banjo, and the thing about a banjo, it has a big drum here, and a heavy metal rim around the outside. And the thing about the banjo being so heavy, with this heavy metal rim, is there's only one dance move you can do when you're playing the banjo, and it's called the banjo wiggle, and it goes a bit like this. I said, can you do some banjo wiggling for me? It would be fantastic if you can do some banjo wiggling during this song. This is a story song called Baby and the Band. On 44 Newcastle Street, in a town called Peterlee, something strange is happening to the Gordon family. If you're peeping through their window on any Friday nights, what you see when you look there will give you such a fright. You'll see a baby play the banjo and a dog, he plays his drums. Grandma plays the bass guitar with nothing but her thumbs. And from Billingham to Brighton and all across this land, no one plays the music quite like Baby and the Band. And I'll say, can I see some banjo wiggling from you now? That's very good. We sometimes do it with hands as well, but it looks really strange. You should have seen the other week they were practicing their bits when Baby dropped his banjo onto Grandad's plate of chips. Well, the old man, he was fuming as his dinner flowed out, but nobody was listening when he tried to scream and shout. Because the baby played the banjo and the dog, he played his drums. Grandma played the bass guitar with nothing but her thumbs. From Billingham to Brighton and all across this land, no one plays the music quite like Baby and the Band. And then we'll have a competition. Let's see who can be the wiggliest now. Which side is the wiggliest? Very wiggly over there, definitely. Oh, some very stylish wiggling on this side as well. Very in time. I do like that. Well, many years have passed, and I am very sad to say. Baby's all grown up now, and his banjo's packed away. Oh. Well, he's got no time to practice. Now he's children of his own. But if you're very quiet while you're passing by his home, you might hear the baby plays the banjo and the dog, he plays his drums. Grandma plays the tuba now, she's arthritis in her thumbs. From Billingham to Brighton and all across this land, no one plays the music quite like baby. Baby, and the baby plays the banjo and the doggy plays his drums. Grandma plays the bass guitar with nothing but her thumbs. From Billingham to Brighton and all across this land, no one plays the music quite like baby and the band. Woo! Baby and the band. And then I'll say, can I see a bit more banjo wiggling? Here we go. That's it, wiggling. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you. So that's how we start off most of the family folk shows we do, and also the work we do in schools. And even we do some work in preschools as well, and I'll get onto that. But you've always got about 5 minutes where you can do a story song like that with very little interactions. There's a bit of interaction, but the kids will focus for about 5 minutes and they're happy to go on that story with you. You know, it tells a very specific story, and they're engaged for that. After about those 5 minutes, we found that you've started to move them around a bit more. I'll just check the time that we're on. How long?
We started about 5 minutes late for you, so should have been
11:10. Yeah, I've got plenty more time to do some more songs. That's the set that we do for our family folk shows. Now, I was also going to hand out, which I'll give you a guide as to kind of how we market it as well. I'll pass one to the screen as well, and they can see the kind of thing, how it works. I'll hold this up to the screen. Yep.
Yeah, hold it, show that camera. Yeah, great.
Yep. Let it focus in. Ooh, wrong way. Back a bit. No, it's not going to focus, is it? Yeah. I'll pass one here. So we pitch it at 0 to 8 years, and you usually find it's mainly about 0 to 6-year-olds that come. Some 6 to 9-year-old girls will come. Boys tend to get boys get a bit more interested in fighting or doing something more physical between 6 and 8. Not always, but that's the demographic that comes along. You will get a lot of people who. What's great about it is that we'll get a lot of people come along to these family folk shows who are not so interested in folk music and who are just looking for something to do with the children. But from that, they'll then go on and might go to a folk festival and start to explore folk a lot more from that. And that's happened a lot. You also get lots of grandparents that will come looking for something to do with their grandkids that like folk music. So we've done that, and I think it was about 2015 when a school approached us and asked us if we'd come and perform to the school. It was a school in Bedford. They were looking for music just as entertainment rather than to engage the children. I think we just were going to be background music, but they brought us in, and because we'd started to develop the family folk show, when we performed for them, we could engage the children a bit. And after that, I think there was some more schools that had heard, we'd mentioned that we did that, and from doing some of the family folk shows and some of the Mason work, some other schools approached us to do the same thing. And we started to think, how could the music work in an educational setting as well? Because some of the songs that we do, we'd want to keep the children involved, I suppose, engaged as the performance goes on. So we'd often, with the family folk show and with the educational stuff, we start with a song like Baby in the Band, and we don't do this one as much now, My Father's Farm, but Redbird we do as well. I'll demonstrate that. So this is a song I got from Lead Belly's was a American folk singer, blues legend, but did a lot of work with young children as well. For whatever reason, it was a big thing, wasn't it? Pete Seeger did a lot, and even Woody Guthrie, engaging in the 50s with young people, very young people, entertaining them using folk music. And this is a song that we got from him, and it kind of goes like this. I'll do a little bit, and then I'll explain how it evolved into a... Oh, yeah. I think it's plug in. I needed that sign, Pete. I told Pete we should have a sign saying plug in, and then I'd remember every time. So the song went, Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird, Redbird singing in the morning. And we thought, okay, well, that's the basis of a lovely idea of a song. How are we going to use that, turn that into a performance that you could do with young kids? And Deb's had the idea of bringing in some Makaton signing, which I didn't know much about, and I still don't know that much about, but she knows a bit of it. And so she said that the sign for bird is this, and the sign for singing is this. So she gets the children, okay, we're going to do a song called Redbird now, and it's got some actions, some signing we're going to do, and we get them to go, Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird. So they'll be going, Redbird sing, and you can try it now actually. Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird, Redbird singing in the morning. You can even try the singing bit. Should we try that? Okay. Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird singing in the morning, Redbird, Redbird singing in the morning. And as you can imagine, this is a song that works particularly well with the Key Stage 1 show we do. So aged 4 to 8, is that Key Stage 1? 5 to 7, there we go. And foundation, with foundation coming often as well. So yeah, 4 to 7. And then we'll say, now a cat is going to chase the bird, so we need the sign for cat, and we ask, does anyone know the sign for cat? And the sign for cat is whiskers. So we do, Catty chase the red bird singing in the morning. Catty chase the red bird singing in the morning. You've got it. Catty chase the red bird singing in the morning. Red bird singing. And the chorus. Red bird singing in the morning. That's it. Red bird singing in the morning. Red bird singing in the morning. red bird singing in the morning. And then I say, does anyone know an animal that likes to chase cats? And then when you've got that's right. Dog is the answer I'm looking for. However, many times you don't get dog straight away. The amount of times we've had mouse seems to be very popular in an animal that likes to chase cats. Also lion as well, which I suppose it would be, yeah. But dogs is what I'm looking for. So we say dogs, yeah, that's the sign for dogs, yeah. So doggy chase the cat, sing it in the morning. Doggy chase the cat, sing it in the morning. Doggy chase the cat, sing it in the morning. Cat, sing it in the morning. Red bird singing 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 in the morning. And then there's a kazoo solo and some more verses. But I won't do that for now. I'll just... okay. And then oats and beans and barley grow. So there's plenty of actions you can do for that. We tend to do... first the farmer sows his seed, he stands erect and takes his ease. He stamps his foot and get them to go 1, 2. He claps his hand 1, 2 and turn around to view his land. And we say, when we're playing at schools, we don't get them to stand up at this point because it all goes horribly wrong. If we get them to stand up, we'll get them to do this for turn around. And turn around to view his lands. Oats and beans and barley grow. Oats and beans and barley grow. Can you or I or anyone know how oats and beans and barley grow? And on from that. So minimal actions with that. And I will ask if anyone knows what this instrument, and I've yet to get someone that says octave mandola. Once got a mandolin, and I was pleased with that. Yeah, ants go marching. It's pretty... We'll often do this towards the end. I pitched it there in this set, but it's mainly towards the end, and we will get the kids to stand up. The ants went marching, get them to do some marching. The ants went marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. The ants went marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. The ants went marching one by one. The little one stopped to wiggle his bum. And Debs go, wiggle his bum? And I'll go, wiggle his bum. Can you wiggle your bum? And then get them to go, dun, 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 dun. And they all went marching down to the earth just to get out of the rain. And then it goes on like that. 2 by 2, tie his shoe. 3 by 3, climb a tree. 4 by 4, knock at the door. 5 by 5, learn to drive, which is the most popular one. I'm not sure why. All around the kitchen. That's a song about dancing, really. Ha ha, this away. You'll remember that from, which is... Again, a Leadbelly-derived song that was used in the Whiz-Bit show. I don't know if you remember the Whiz-Bit. And we had some simple actions for that. And then this is the one that has an action that's particularly effective. Baby on Board, which is... and this is it's just a song that we wrote, but the action's effective because it allows... Some of the younger children have lots of energy to get it out while still engaging with the music. So we say, sorry, plug it. Oh yeah. No, it's plugged in my pocket, isn't it? So I ask, has anyone got a baby brother or a baby sister? And someone will say yes. I say, what is? I can't remember exactly. What do I say? I say, does your baby brother or sister like to cry sometimes? And they often say yes. I say, this song is about trying to get them to sleep. So we're going to do some rocking. So can you rock your little baby like this? And the rules are, when I say do little rocking like this, you do little rocking. When I say do big rocking, you do big rocking. And that allows them to go like this. But when I say freeze, you've got to stop and not move 1 inch. And I'll go, little baby boy came home last week. 48 hours didn't make 1 peep. Now the only way we can I'll say, Could you do a little bit of rocking for me? Rock out, baby. Now the only way we can make him sleep is keep on rocking that cradle. Sleeping in the bedroom didn't work out. Wrapped him in a blanket that didn't out. Tried him with the dummy, but he spat it right out. Just keep on rocking that cradle. Get ready for big rocking. And oh Lord, keep rocking the cradle. Oh Lord, keep rocking the cradle. Keep on rocking by, oh my Lord. Keep on rocking and freeze. Oh, you moved. Yeah, you get the idea. There's a baby on board. And back to little rocking. So it goes on like that. There's 3 verses of that. And that works particularly well at getting the energy out of the young kids that want to move around and engage with the music that way. Because when you're working with working with your children, there's a variety of ways that they engage with it and they want to engage with it. Some are quite timid, and you've got to really bring them out of the shell. Some are not timid, and you've got to kind of focus that energy into the music. And we always finish with, I won't do it all now, we call it On the Mountain medley. So have you come across that song? On the mountain stands a lady, who she is I do not know. It was collected, I believe, in Little Pot, which is not too far from here. And we got it from, I can't remember, we got it from, there's a folk group from Birmingham in the late 60s, early 70s. And the name, it's just gone. And they put it on a collection of little medley that they recorded in the 70s of children's folk songs. And it was a great way to start off a medley. And we'll finish with with that as a medley, but incorporating lots of traditional children's songs into it. And the one challenge I have when I'm doing these concerts for children is moving from dadgad tuning into standard tuning within seconds. Normally, I'll tell a few jokes to the to adult audiences, but you can't really do the same thing to children because they don't have the same attention. They don't sit still. Not interested in alternative tunings, but eventually I'll get there. And we kind of do so medley, like moving songs together. On the mountain stands a lady, who she is I do not know. All she wants is gold and silver, all she wants is a handsome beau. Calling my Deb while I go out to play. And then you use that to get into your next song. It's a bit of a key change. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. You know? And into the same thing back to on the mountain, and then a particularly good one is, can you see the rabbits sleeping till it's nearly noon? And then you get the kids to sleep now, can we gently wake them with our merry tune? Oh, so still are they ill? Wake up soon and hop, little rabbits, hop, hop, hop. And then they do a little hopping, jumping up and down, hop and stop. And then we'll do a false ending with the sun has gone to bed and so must I. Don't know why we do that, to say goodbye to them. And then back into the medley, and then finish with head, shoulders, knees and toes, head, shoulders, knees and toes, and then do it double time. Eyes and knees and fingers and nose, heads and shoulders, knees and toes, So 45 minutes of them starting with something that's quite low-key, really focused, really telling them a story, and then slowly building the dynamic as the performance goes on. Because it gets to the end and they just want to, the ones who engage with the music. And folk music is a great form of music for that because it's so immediate. There's so many actions and stories you can get in with it. But yeah, they want to engage with the music in a more physical way after about 45 minutes. And so, you see, that's how we built that up. And the shows are really popular now. We I imagined we would have retired it after 10 years. I didn't think we'd been doing it that long because I feel like I'm late 40s and I'm not getting too old for that, maybe not. No. But there's a market for it. People keep looking for something to do with the children. And we've built it up into a good performance. Now, if you go on to the next set, we spent a bit of time, next slide, we spent a bit of time that's kind of what it looks like now. We spent a bit of time in the 2018, 2019. We did a pitch to the Arts Council for one of the lottery project grants and got some funding to make it wireless. So I don't know if you noticed on the first picture, there was microphones stands there. We were playing like a gig with a bubble machine. But the microphone stands, they will get in the way with the children engaging with the music, and they'll punch them, knock them down as well. That fell a couple of times, and that was bad. And generally cabling in, we've got a little bit of cabling there, but it's fairly minimal. So yeah, you might just about see that we've got headset mics on instead, and I've got a wireless pack, so we can just move around and engage with the children a lot more, because they really appreciate it when you go right up to them and perform. Obviously, it can be quite gentle. Depending on the child, you've got to judge what they want from that interaction. But to make the performance really, really works and helps them get on with it. This is towards the end of the performance where the stood up. Most of the performances we do now, keep them seated as long as we can, because once the stood up, it explodes. That makes sense. There's no going back. And let me move on to the next slide now. So as well as doing Key Stage 1, some of the schools that we went into, we'd started to build up a relationship with fair few schools that wanted us to come and do it. We delivered a good show to them, I think, and they wanted us to come back. The word spread around. More schools said, come and do it. We did a project with Cambridgeshire. Prue, were you here then? Yes, you were. It was, what was the lady that Lynn, yes. So Lynn and Prue organised 2 projects, I think, we did with Cambridgeshire Live, where there was about 5 or 6 skills that we performed. So as well as that, there's a few skills that would contact us directly. And so we built up this. And they'd want, as well as a Key Stage 1 performance, which is mainly what the Family Folk Show was, so not 8 years, find a way of engaging with Key Stage 2. And it becomes a bit, not trickier, but you've got to do a different thing as the age range moves up. Particularly the higher end of Key Stage 2 years, 5 and 6, they become almost like teenagers. In fact, like grumpy teenagers. Years 5 and 6, or year 6, tricky to work with. So we find a way that we can, engage with them in a different way and get them involved by presenting some folk music to them. So again, we often start with Baby and the Band still. We've tried starting with other things, but it seems to work. And then we'll ask them what they think folk music is, because a lot of schools, most of the schools we go to, they haven't had that much folk music in. That's probably why they get us in. Some of them have. But even the ones that have, they want to be asked their knowledge about it. And we ask them what they think folk music is. And generally, there will be some comments about tradition and things being passed on through generations. So that word does spread around. The use of the instruments. So they'll often say, "Oh, it's like country music. That's the big thing." And so I'll explain how country music's derived from American folk music, and a lot of the instruments are the same or similar. And one of the things that folk music can be is that the use of the instruments. So we'll talk about that and how folk music can be songs that people used to sing to help them work. One of the great benefits of the lockdown, I would say, was that song that became really popular, the Wellerman Sea Shanty, as one way that you can get that Key Stage 2 age group to not engage with folk music, but that's something they know that you'll say, okay, well, that is an example of a song that people used to sing, what used to help them to work. And then we will do some other versions of that, often finishing with a version of the Weller Man as well, to help them enjoy the performance, I suppose, and sing it out. We've started to do a song called No School for Us Today, which is it uses the Blackleg Minor tune, the Blackleg Minor, and with some words written by Bill Elliott, who works in part of that family, Elliott's of, I forgot what they're called. It's not Stanley, is it? It's Bertley. Is it Bertley? Somewhere up there, somewhere in County Durham, a bit further north than where I'm from. A fantastic song about a school strike. So it talks about how some of the school children went on strike because they weren't getting free school meals. Some of them and they needed it. And it illustrates how you can use music melodies to tell stories about history. And also, they like the idea that these children are going on strike. You know, they heard a bit about strikes. They want to be part of that. And sometimes not going to school for them is a good thing. Obviously, they should be going to school, but they appreciate that. I'll probably start wrapping up 2 minutes. So we do that. We do a version of the Rattling Bog. Have you come across the Rattling Bog? Yeah, which again is a song that it builds up and up a set of actions. It's very hard to do with Key Stage 1 because the actions are very complex and the song is a little bit tricky, but it works really well with Key Stage 2. We introduce, so as Focus works on, we do a version of the shanty, Roll the Old Chariot Along. Roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. And get them to write their own verses. And we can do it as a song. You can involve them while the song keeps going. You don't need to stop the song to get them to suggest their ideas and build it into a performance. That's what's great about that song. And that keeps their eyes in the game, keeps them engaged. The fact that the music's still going and you're getting their ideas and turning it into a song. Is there any more slides? Oh, yeah. And then we finish with we get them to dance at the end. Ask them questions. Key Stage 2 will have questions they want to ask, often about how much money you earn. Are you famous? Do you know any famous people? They'll often ask that. Or your favorite song, or how many instruments you play. So they want to engage with the instruments, and we always try and ask them who plays what, who plays instruments here, and say and make the point that it's a great way to meet people. Sometimes I'll say, I met my wife here singing in a choir and playing in an orchestra. And they go, ooh, she's your wife. Oh, that's weird. But yeah, encourage them as much as I can to take up instruments and point them in the direction of the anywhere that they can play nearby. So I think that's about it. As well as that, one of the great things I got out of coming to one of these sessions before the pandemic was Joe Frey who ran a session about songwriting, and I also run songwriting workshops over Zoom, as I mentioned earlier. And I picked so much up from Joe that time as to how people can tell their stories using songwriting and through songwriting workshops, getting participants and people to write their songs. And I'm still doing that now. We do a bit of that in some schools as well as with people all the way up to age 86. I hope that has been informative. There's many more things I could say, but thank you so much for listening and engaging with the music as well. Thank you. Thank you on Zoom as well. Thank you.